Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at one of the most incredible cultural and spiritual paradoxes out there. We're going to unpack a pretty breathtaking dichotomy, a tradition that's all about mind-boggling scale and royal grandeur, but at the exact same time, it's anchored in this profound, casteless humility. It's a huge story of ancient kings, tribal roots, massive feasts, and just one uniquely devoted woman. Let's get right into it.
Okay, I want you to start by thinking about a question that almost sounds impossible to answer. When you're literally the master of the universe, which, by the way, is exactly what the name Jagannath means, and you're served a 56-course royal feast every single day, what do you actually crave? Keep that in the back of your mind as we go, because the answer is going to completely flip how you think about devotion, tradition, and perfection.
600. That's the staggering number of dedicated chefs, they're known as suras, working every single day at the Jagannath temple in Puri, India. And guys, they are not just whipping up a few pots of soup here. They're orchestrating a culinary operation of literal epic proportions that's been passed down for generations.
Part 1. The world's largest kitchen.
So, to house those 600 chefs, plus their 400 assistants, you obviously need an unparalleled workspace. Welcome to the Rajagara. This legendary temple kitchen is actually recognized as one of the absolute largest in the world. But here's the crucial thing. They aren't just making dinner, they're making Mahaprasad. In the Jagannath tradition, food only transforms into Mahaprasad after it's offered first to Lord Jagannath and then, in a really unique twist, re-offered to the goddess Bimala. It totally shifts from just being physical sustenance into actual divine grace. And honestly, the best part? Once it becomes Mahaprasad, it acts as this sacred equalizer. It's consumed by people from all walks of life, completely wiping away caste and social barriers.
Let's dive into the daily schedule of this food, famously known as the 56 Bhog or Chopgan Bhog. Mythology says that when Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill to protect his village from rain, he missed his usual 8 daily meals for 7 straight days. 7 times 8? Yep, 56. So to make up for that, Jagannath, who's an incarnation of Krishna, gets 56 different items daily. The rhythm is just constant. You've got morning sweets in the Gopal ball of Bhog, then it moves into a massive midday multi-course feast called the Madhyana Dupa, all the way down to late-night milk and fruits.
To pull this off, the logistics are just mind-boggling. We're talking 32 massive rooms and 250 earthen hearths. Everything is cooked strictly in earthen pots over wood-fired stoves. And get this, there's absolutely no onion, no garlic, not even potatoes used. On a normal day, they feed thousands, but during major festivals, this traditional old-school kitchen scales up to feed up to 10 million people. It's literally an absolute marvel of perfectly timed culinary grandeur.
Now, what's really interesting here is a massive pivot in our story. On one hand, we've got this highly regulated 56-course royal machine, but contrast that with one messy bowl of simple khichdi. Unwashed rice, moong dal, some salt, all made by one village woman. How in the world does this humble little bowl fit into the grand story of the master of the universe? Well, to answer that, we're going to have to travel back to the 17th century.
Part 2. The Legend of Karma Bai. This legend? This is the emotional core of our explainer. Amidst all that strict orthodoxy and royal grandeur at the Puri temple, there was Karma Bai. Born in Rajasthan back in 1615, she was raised by a deeply devout father. When she was just 13, her father had to travel and told her, "Make sure you offer food to the Lord before you eat." Well, she took him quite literally. She placed her simple khichdi in front of the idol and stubbornly refused to eat a single bite until the deity actually ate first. Touched by that pure innocence, legend says Krishna miraculously appeared and ate it. Years later, she moves to Puri. She's living in a small hut, making that same simple khichdi for Lord Jagannath, treating him literally like her own child. She wasn't bothering with complex purity rituals. She even tasted the food first just to make sure it wasn't too hot for him. Naturally, a high priest caught wind of this, was absolutely horrified by the lack of protocol, and scolded her so severely she was forced to change her ways.
Terrified, Karma Bai started following all those strict, lengthy purification rituals. But the next morning, because of the extra steps, her food was delayed. Jagannath actually had to rush back to the main temple to be there for the morning opening, barely getting a bite of her food. The priests were totally shocked to find the grand deity's face stained with dried khichdi and miraculously shedding tears. That very night, Jagannath appeared to the high priest in a dream with a pretty powerful message. He said,
"Your rules have made me go hungry." He basically explained that her pure love, her bhava, was his true seasoning, and her so-called impurities were totally invisible to him because he was only looking at her heart. And the craziest part? The impact of that dream wasn't just some fleeting historical footnote. It literally dictates the daily schedule of the Grand Puri Temple right now, today. Before that elaborate 56 bhog even starts, the very first breakfast offered to the deity every single morning, the Balya Bhoga, is Karmabai's intentionally simple khichdi. It's a daily, permanent reminder that pure devotion completely outranks rigid perfection.
Part 3. The deity's tribal origins.
You know, Karmabai's story of raw, unfiltered love isn't just a fairy tale. It actually perfectly mirrors the real, indigenous roots of the Jagannath cult itself. This wasn't always some polished royal tradition. According to ancient texts like the Skanda Purana, it all started out in the forest. Step 1, a tribal Sabara chief named Visvavasu was secretly worshipping a deity called Nila Madhava. Then in step 2, the Aryan king Indradumna tries to claim it, but the deity vanishes, apparently pretty annoyed at the king's arrogance. Moving to step 3, the king is guided to the sacred glowing wooden log floating in the sea, known as the Darup Rama. Finally, a mysterious carpenter agrees to carve the idols in total secrecy. But when he's interrupted, he vanishes. He leaves behind these abstract, unrefined, limbless wooden idols that we still see today. Those raw wooden forms, they represent a deep, enduring connection to indigenous nature worship.
And this brilliantly illustrates how incredible this tradition really is. It's like the ultimate syncretism, just seamlessly blending different beliefs. First, you've got the tribal Savara origins with the wooden idols and the indigenous priests, the Dayapatis, who still perform the most intimate temple rituals to this day. Then you layer in Buddhist and Jain influences, like the concept of the three jewels reflected in the three deities, and the very Buddhist idea of egalitarian food sharing. Finally, all of this gets absorbed right into mainstream Hindu traditions of Vaishnavism, Shaivism, and Shaktism. It's just this magnificent spiritual melting pot.
Part 4. A God of Equality.
By bringing together tribal chieftains, powerful kings, and simple devotees like Karmabai, this tradition managed to engineer something truly radical for its time. A society built on absolute equality in the eyes of the divine. This equality is fiercely protected by lore, especially the 16th century Lakshmi Purana. In that story, goddess Lakshmi visits an outcast woman. Well, her husband, Jagannath, and his brother Balabhadra get arrogant and block her from re-entering the temple. Huge mistake. In response, Lakshmi strips them of all their wealth and literally curses them to starve. Reduced to beggars, the proud brothers are eventually forced to eat food served by Lakshmi herself. And her non-negotiable condition for coming back? The temple food, the Mahaprasad, must forever transcend all social and caste divisions. High priests and marginalized folks must eat together as equals.
And if you're looking for proof of this equality in action, look no further than the massive annual Rath Yatra festival. Before those giant chariots even budge, the Raja of Puri, a literal descendant of sovereign emperors, steps forward and humbly sweeps the floor of the chariots with a golden broom. This ritual, called Charapahana, is such a powerful statement. It shows that before the Lord of the universe, the highest king and the humblest street sweeper are exactly the same. Which brings us to a really beautiful summary of the whole thing. True unity does not demand strict uniformity, but rather thrives on the harmonious integration of distinct, diverse elements into an integrated whole. I mean, that hits the nail right on the head. That is the ultimate takeaway of the Jagannath tradition. From its tribal forest roots to a massive 56-course kitchen, from grand royal processions all the way to a simple widow's unwashed khichdi. It doesn't force everything to be uniform. It completely embraces the messy, beautiful diversity of the human experience. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. We spend so much of our lives chasing perfection, right? We adhere to strict rules, trying to present this flawless image to the world, but if the master of the universe deliberately steps away from a 56-course royal feast just to savor the humble, messy, rule-breaking devotion of a simple bowl of khichdi, what really matters in our own lives? Perhaps it's not the perfection of our actions, but the true purity of our intent. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it sparked your curiosity as much as it did mine.